and you have to keep in contact. Like, how is it normal for there to be a mole in an office that feeds information?
There's a certain element of denial in modern society. Nobody wants to admit that they're a soccer mum or just a normal office worker or anything like that. They've all got new special titles, and they get things, buy or wear things to try and put across this impression of being something spectacular. But in reality, the majority of life it can be quite mundane. Like, I'm going to the shops at the moment, and there's nothing amazing about it. I'm going to cook I'm actually going to cook some chorizo and pesto linguine with a pesto sauce. So basically I'm going to have spaghetti and sausages with some ground up grass. But as long as you put a nice sexy label on it, it seems more appetizing, more delicious, more enticing. And it was funny because I was watching the ad for the Ford Cougar that's on at the moment. Actually, the ad is specifically for 3 years free servicing, which is a pretty good deal. And the woman in the ad, I don't know if she's an actor or if she's an actual owner, but she said she wanted a Ford Cougar because she didn't want to be the soccer mum. She wanted something a little smaller and more sporty, because she still kind of wanted to be the hot mum. If you're buying an SUV, you're going to be a soccer mum or soccer dad. But there's nothing wrong with that, because the things that you're doing when you're taking kids to sport, that's a good thing to do. Not only is it good for the kids to learn about sport, particularly teamwork in sport and all those other sort of great things that come out of sport, you're also spending time with your kids. So the idea that they don't want to be this particular label, I guess, again shows the power of the labels themselves. Sport utility vehicle. I'm in a sport utility vehicle at the moment. This is the Captiva LS, the Captiva 7 LS. So it's even less sporty than the term Captiva, because when you have 7 seats, the idea that you're going to do some type of sport is kind of ridiculous, because you're certainly not going to take this, or I put it to you, just about any other SUV into any type of sport activity, unless you're a soccer mum or dad and you're going to soccer. And that's what I did with this car and the SUV I had before it, and the SUVs that I've got booked in for the next 5 weeks. I'm going to be sitting in 3 different types of Mitsubishi Outlanders, the Mitsubishi Challenger, and I've also got the Captiva 5 coming up in a few weeks after that. So they're all technically sport utility vehicles. That's their label. But I won't be racing any of them, and I certainly won't be taking them to the track. So pretty much as I expected, I went shopping, didn't run into any celebrities. As far as I could tell, paparazzi was nowhere to be seen. Just another day in the life of a regular person. But if we talk about the actual format the SUV format itself. This is probably the most finely honed expression, the most efficient expression of that particular format that you could probably get. And I'm not saying that the Captiva 7 is the best SUV on the market. It's certainly not as technologically accomplished as many of the competitors, and this particular example, although it's a Series 2 and has only just been released, really the only new addition to this vehicle is LED taillights. Really, that's the biggest development they've put into it. This one seems to drive better than the CX that I had a few years ago, but it's not a cutting-edge vehicle. But it does everything that this SUV format really needs. The reality of SUVs is exactly what I've been doing, going to buy sausages and spaghetti from the shops, taking kids to soccer, occasionally going for bushwalks or something like that. And to that end, it's also a two-wheel drive, not an all-wheel drive, so it doesn't carry the extra weight of all-wheel drive, which, to be honest, in most circumstances, all-wheel drive is completely irrelevant for a vehicle like this, at least when you're talking about the Australian market, because predominantly we don't have snow and ice and all those types of slippery environments that make all-wheel drive such an important safety feature. So really, having a two-wheel drive SUV that has the higher ride height so you can jump over curbs every now and again, which I've done in this one, not jump, just slowly progressed over. It's got a nice big torquey 2.2 litre turbo diesel, which may or may not be efficient, I can't tell, because the computer in this is so incredibly basic. It's got a trip meter, and at the moment I've got a quarter of a tank left and I'm on 550 Ks, so it's about a 70 litre tank. So you're looking at about probably 750 kilometres out of a tank, which isn't too bad because where I'm driving is kind of hilly and it can be quite demanding, especially when I drive like that a lot. Whoops. So really the LS does exactly what you would want an SUV to do, except for, and probably this is the most important reason why people buy SUVs, it doesn't have that. Oh no, it does really, doesn't it? I was going to say that this does everything that you would expect SUVs to do, except for the most critical point why people buy SUVs. It's because it's fashionable. But really, this is just as fashionable as anything else. If somebody sees you turn up to school in one of these, they're going to say, oh look, there's a nice new SUV. They're not going to look at it and say, oh, it doesn't have a touch screen, which it doesn't, or it doesn't have a reversing camera, which it doesn't, and it should. But when they look at it from outside, it's a fairly modern looking vehicle. It's a nice colour, the paint's nice. There's nothing horrible about it. It's just average, I guess.